Hey y'all, and welcome back to a new devotion, Turning Points with God by David Jeremiah. Today's devotion is found on page 211. The title is The Real Enemy. Very interesting. Our scripture comes from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. I will be reading that from my King James Bible, and I'm sure it's going to sound very familiar to us. And it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." For many years, medical researchers thought that stomach ulcers were caused by stress and spicy foods. Then in 1982, two Australian researchers discovered the Helicobacter pylori bacterium and proved that it was the cause of some of the stomach ulcers. In 1994, the National Institutes of Health agreed and recommended treating ulcers with antibiotics instead of with milk. In medicine, the enemy has to be identified before the proper defense can be used. And the same is true in the spiritual life. Many Christians, while believing the devil generally have not identified him as being the enemy of their personal lives. The Apostle Paul wrote that Christians' struggle in life is against spiritual powers under the control of Satan. To fail to identify one's true enemy is to fail to defeat him. It takes spiritual defense to defeat a spiritual enemy. When you find yourself in soul-sick state, make sure you identify the cause. If it is spiritual in nature, only God's spiritual remedies will cure you. Jesus invited us not to a picnic, but to a pilgrimage. That was a tongue twister. Not to a frolic, but to a fight. And that is a quote by Billy Graham. And if you have been here in any amount of time, you know we talk very frequently about spiritual warfare and how different spirits affect different parts of our lives, situations we encounter. And it is so important that we be prayed up so that the Lord can show us and help us identify what's really going on, get to the root of the problem, so to speak. And I'm going to give you an example. So about 5 years ago, I would say, I was really still in the beginning stages of my journey in the Lord, and I had no idea everything that was happening in my life, as it does, was leading me up to where I am today. And y'all all know how much I adore my precious husband. I love him with everything in me, and he is so good to me. And we're best friends. We have the best relationship. And the devil used that man to torment me. And I say it was the devil, and some people that don't understand him or whatever would say, no, it wasn't the devil, it was just him. No, it was the devil. Out of the blue, everything would be fine. And then out of the blue, he would just become, honestly, like a different person for no reason. And I would just be like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, what? Anyway, I began praying about it, and as I do, I was talking to my mom about it, and she said, Donna, she said, you need to start rebuking that spirit and praying against that spirit that is getting on him and using him to torment you, to make your life miserable, to make your life a living hell. She said, it's a spiritual warfare, and the devil is using someone you love most to literally torment you. And she said, just start paying attention. And I was like, okay. And I started praying against it, And then I started seeing a pattern. And when the Lord would try to get in there and I was praying about things and the Lord was moving, it never failed. I would have this situation with James. And the more it happened, the more I could see and recognize. And I would get to praying against it. And it was just like, it had to leave. It had to leave and everything resumed, and he was back to himself. But the devil was using him and he didn't even realize it. I never told him, you're being used by the devil or anything like that. But I would go to war and pray against those spirits. And I still do to this day. They don't happen anymore. And I rebuke the devil for trying to come against me with one today. But I got so diligent in recognizing his trick and that he would try to use the person I love most and come in and make my life a living hell, literally. And I just began praying against it. And then I would go through my home and I would anoint everywhere that he was going to be and things he was going to touch. Doorknobs, the side of his bed. I've put prayer cloths under his side of the bed, on the mattress. I would just pray over him constantly. And if there was any glimmer of the devil going to try to poke his head up and use my husband for his dirty deeds, it wasn't happening on my watch. And I thank God that I had that realization. And I want to let you know, it is very real. The devil will attach himself to people and use them, and they don't even realize they're doing it. And I'm sure he's done it to me against other people, and I pray against that as well. So that's why whenever I'm out in public, Walmart, on the road, whatever, and things start happening and people are being rude. Now, there's just some rude people out there, okay? You can't blame the devil for every stinking thing, but there's just some rude people out there. But a lot of times people are being used by the devil. And so I have learned to combat him with kindness. And I don't give into it. I don't play his games. When I'm out in public and somebody's kind of rude to me, I kill them with kindness. To me, I just no, not today. Not today, Satan. And I kill them with kindness. And I turn it, and you can see a shift in people. In fact, there was this one lady that I go to the thrift store, as we know, and I would dread getting in her line because she just seems so and we never know what battles people are fighting. That's another thing. We never know what somebody else is going through. But I would just dread getting in her line because she wasn't the most pleasant person to talk to. She was just very impersonal. And I don't mean she don't have to share her life with me, but saying hello, how are you, have a great day, goes a long way. Well, I decided I'm going to fix this. And so I began getting in her line and I began talking to her. And one day I asked her, I said, can I buy you a drink? Can I buy you a soda or something, a water? I know you probably need something. You're working so hard. And y'all, you could see a shift change in her. And now, she come get in my line. We stand there, we have conversations the whole time she's checking me out. She knows me by my name. We chit chat all the time, and she's a pleasure. But the devil wanted me to be miserable going through her line every time. And I was like, not today. Not today. We can defeat the devil. And we can show the love of God. And we can encourage others. And I will never know if that means anything to her or not. I know what it does to me. It blesses my soul. It blesses my soul. And it makes me smile every time I leave that store, knowing where it started and how it is now. And God did that because God put a love in me to not want to be miserable and not want her to be miserable. And so I stand there and I talk to her, and I don't know what's going on in her life other than what we discussed there at the register. We don't get deep. We don't go out for lunch. We don't, go out and have a coffee date. But, maybe she's going through something in her life that can be a little bit of ray of sunshine in hers. You know what I mean? We can defeat the enemy, but it will take God to do it. God has to show us. God has to be in us. We have to have a prayer life and be prayed up and know exactly how and when to fight. And if we will trust Him, He will show us everything, and He will go before us and make a way for us to be able to do that. And had I not had a prayer life, had I not had somebody to talk to, I may have never realized what was happening in my own home. The devil thought he had liberty to come into my home and use my husband to hurt me. No. And I pray a covering over that man all the time. I pray a shield around him all the time, just like I do my family, because the enemy would love to make him miserable, because not only was he making me miserable by using him, he was miserable being used. Not on my watch. Not knowing what I know. And so maybe this will help you if you're going through something and maybe you encounter a certain person that just honestly just like nails on a chalkboard. Try showing them some love and compassion. And honestly, it goes to treat them how you want to be treated, and you watch how God will move in that situation. Because let me tell you something, everybody you encounter is going through something. Everyone we encounter is battling something. Nobody's life is perfect. We all have things we have to deal with, some way more extreme than the others, but still it affects them. And we can show them the love of God, and we can beat the real enemy, which is the devil and his little imps that he will send out to wreak havoc on people. And he will use people so dear to you to torment you. But you know what? Knowing is half the battle. Taking it to the great I am, it's done. The battle is won, because God does not lose. He cannot fail. He will not be defeated. And if you have a prayer life and you have a relationship with Him, you will be victorious. You will. No way, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You will be victorious. So next time you encounter someone, maybe next time your husband comes in and he's being a royal pain in the you-know-what, maybe it's not really him. Maybe it's the devil using him to get at you, to torment you, to make your life miserable. And maybe when you find yourself, like I have found myself, I would find myself just being just so, James wouldn't be doing anything wrong. And I would just be so, like, the best way to describe it is a worm in hot ashes, just, ugh. I'd have to pray for myself. It ain't always somebody else's fault. Sometimes he'll attack us and use us. Even the ones of us who are praying and doing our best every day, he can still get on us and cause us, so we have to pray for ourselves as well. So just a little food for thought there. I hope this has encouraged you and blessed you. And I know that it has reiterated to me and reminded me I can't stop praying. I can't stop praying for my husband. I can't stop praying for my family. I can't stop praying because the enemy is real. We are in a spiritual warfare like we have never seen before. And we can't stop. We got to keep praying. So we will be victorious. I love you. I pray you have an amazing day. Smile. Make somebody else smile today. Even the ones that are rude and hateful, just love them anyway, because we never know what they're going through. All right, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.